going to be making up a cheat sheet for everybody, like the one that I keep for myself for stuff that you kind of use every time. And then you can add and delete once you know a little bit more about what's going on for the stuff that you use and, keep what you use and delete what you don't. Because I may use things that you don't. Okay, so in this series of classes, the Intermediate Artiste, we're going to learn how to use the palette as a mover, an avatar mover. There's two different methods to creating paths or routes for your mover. There's the menu method and the controller marker method. I'm going to show you both in this class, and then you can choose whichever one works for you. I will tell you the controller marker method is more like Spot with the waypoints. However, I think the menu method is a lot easier and simpler. I think pretty much anyone that uses the Artiste uses the menu method. The only downside to the menu method over the controller marker method is that you don't have that visual clue of the waypoints or the markers laid out for you so you can kind of see where your path is. So if you need that visual clue, then that might be easier for you to use that method. But the other one is easier, and so that's what we're going to start with. So the first step in order to use your palette as a mover is that it needs an anchor. The anchor is like the spot on stage marker if you've used that, or if you use the stage manager, it works as a stage marker. So the anchor tells the palette where to go because it moves relative to the location of your anchor. Okay, you only need one anchor regardless of how many palettes you have. So if you have 4 dancers and you're each on a palette, you have 4 palettes, you still only need that one anchor. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to res your anchor, and I've got mine resed on the stage here. And I had a palette and it has disappeared, so I'm going to have to go search for it. But anyway, I've res my anchor, okay? So when you res your anchor, especially today since everybody's going to be resing one, and if you're going to res, make sure that you're wearing the K&M tag, otherwise you won't be able to res. When you res it, you're going to rename it. The default name of it is Artiste Anchor, which you can generally leave it the default if you want. However, we're going to have more than one anchor resed at a time. So in order to not confuse the palettes, we're going to have you each rename your anchor with your name. So like if you look at mine is named Cat's Artiste Anchor. Okay, so all you have to do is res your anchor and then rename it by editing it. Okay, and you can put it anywhere you want. It doesn't make any difference where it goes. Just res it on the floor somewhere. It can be in front of you, behind you, up in the air. It doesn't matter. Just res it and rename it. So I'll give everybody a few minutes to do that. If you have any questions, let me know. And you can change the shape of the anchor if you want to make it smaller. I generally just leave mine the way it is because I'm going to make mine invisible anyway. It is in the PE03 box of stuff, Megan. It says mover stuff, and the anchor is in there because the anchor is not in the same box that the palette comes in. They're in different boxes. Hi, Winnie. So once you've got it resed, rename it. Okay. And like I said, I just added my name to the front of it. Most of the time you won't need to do this step. We're just doing this today so I can show you how it's done, and also because each of us is going to be resing an anchor. The notes are in the box, Winnie. Now, as far as where you place your anchor on your set or with your set, it doesn't make any difference. The palette just has to know where it is. I generally try to put mine somewhere out of the way, whether that be backstage, below the stage, maybe floating above the stage where people can't see it. Or you can put it actually in your set somewhere and then just make it invisible. And by in your set, I mean somewhere on stage, and then you can just make it invisible. If you click on the anchor, you will see that you get a menu. Oh, path and Z. Okay, path. What's your question? Nope, you dinged first for me, so you go. I don't think so, but I'm going to throw that to Yemi. I've never tried to link it to the set, and I'll explain why in a minute, but can it be linked to the set, Yemi? Okay, so if this question is over your heads, don't worry about it for the moment, but I have a question for Yemi. If I link it to the set, how does that work? Because I thought I had to res it before I res the palettes. I can res them all at the same time and theoretically I'm okay? Okay. I will have to try that because I was doing it separately because I thought that's what I had to do. Okay, so great question, Path. Yes, it can be linked to the set. I will try that in the next week with the routine that I'm working on, and I'll let you know how it goes and if I ran into any issues that you need to be aware of in doing that, okay? Because I was putting mine, for reasons that I'll explain later on, in a separate res box because I thought the anchor had to be resed first before I could res the palette. Okay. Zed, what was your question? Can you rip the scripts? Can you do that for an anchor, Yemi? Another great question, Zed, something I would never have thought of. So theoretically speaking, Yemi, I could rip the scripts out of the anchor and make something in my set, the actual anchor. Cool. Okay, so two things for me to try and report back on. Yemi, take notes for me, would you please? Because I'll forget. Winnie, you have a question? Yeah, she just means to copy the scripts out of the anchor into your inventory, and then you can put them into something else. Yep. Copy, I guess, instead of rip or steal. Okay. And that has to do with the reorientation, Yemi, I'm assuming? Okay. Okay, so let me explain a little bit because I don't like talking over your guys' heads, but some of this is stuff that we're not going to get into today. So I don't want to confuse you, but I want you to know what we're talking about. So what I have been doing is putting the anchor in its own res box so that I can res it first, and then I had my set and my movers, my palettes, in another res box, and I would res those second because I understood that the anchor needed to be resed first. Okay. Um, the anchor, because it's also functioning as a stage marker, when you build, of course, and you build at a platform, your platform and where you build may not be oriented the same way, may not be facing the same way as the venue where you perform. And so there is a way to use the anchor to tell it to reorient itself and your movers so that everything rests correctly at the venue where you're going to perform. Okay. Um, so we're not going to get that complicated yet. My recommendation to you for now anyway, as you learn to use the mover, is going to be that if you can, build at the venue where you perform, because I know some of you have the ability to do that. If you can't, my recommendation is to make sure that you build your set facing the same way that it will face at whatever venue it is that you're going to perform at. Okay, so if you perform at Winds, for example, and the stage faces north, then build your set at your platform facing north as well, and that will alleviate any problems that you might have. Okay, and I've not done the set reorientation myself because I build the same way I'm going to perform, and so I've not had to do it, but I will be testing that out, and we'll get to that point. Okay, so does anybody have any questions at this point yet? We ready to move on? Okay. Okay, so if you click on your anchor, you'll notice that it brings up a blue menu, and that is how you would do the reorientation and stuff that I was just talking about. It also lets you show and hide your palettes. So when you use a palette as a mover, it doesn't disappear like the spot markers do. So you have to tell it to make them invisible so that they're not seen, which you can do from here, or there's another way to do it from the HUD. But just so you're aware, you can do it from here. There's also a show hide button that you can click that then would hide your anchor. And that's what I have done, what I have used when I was doing it so that I could make it a part of my set. It was actually contained, within the boundaries of my set, but then I would just make it invisible so nobody could see it. Okay. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so looking at your anchor, some of you have it renamed, some of you don't. In order not to confuse the palettes when we start working with them, you need to give your anchor a unique name. So edit your palette, your anchor, I'm sorry, and change the name. You can leave it as Artiste Anchor and just add your name at the front. That's what I did. So mine, like I said, is named Cat's Artiste Anchor, and name yours with your name. That way your palette knows which anchor is yours and which one to use, because otherwise if it sees them with different names, it won't know which one to use and it'll get confused. And excuse me 1 minute, I'm going to turn my voice off because I have lost one of my palettes and I need to go look for it. Okay, yeah, because if it went to zeros, somebody else will return it to me, so I'll just wait to show up in my lost and found. Your anchor won't rename, Winnie? I show it as renamed. Oh, let me do an area search real quick. It shows as renamed to me, Winnie, so maybe there's just some lag. I'm not finding it with area search at the moment. Yummy, so I'll look for it, or somebody will throw it back at me. That's what usually happens. I lose stuff all the time. I'm terrible about that. I'll be up on my platform and res something and I don't realize it. Okay, so I think everybody's got theirs reset. Okay, great. Everybody has their anchor renamed, so yay. Okay, so once you have your anchor resed, then we're going to start working with the palette. Okay, so the palette is in a different box. It's in the box named PE05. Okay, and there should be two palettes in there, O1A and O1B. It doesn't matter, you can pick either one and res it. And you can res it anywhere you want. If you want to put it in front of you, that's fine too. But leave, when you res it, edit it, and then hang on to it for just a second so that it doesn't run away on you while I explain to you what we need to do. And I'm going to do the same thing with mine. When you res it, it will automatically start doing its little script checks. So you'll start seeing stuff in local. It's fine. Just ignore it for now. Okay, so once it's resed, you need to edit it. And then we're going to go to the content tab, and you'll see two note cards. One is called palette and one is called moves. And those are the only two we're going to work with today. Okay. So click on both of those to open them. Gosh darn it, Yummy. So did mine. Okay. Well, I did let it res. I didn't do anything with it except... Oh, I see. Because we haven't changed the... Gotcha. Okay. I wonder who owns the zero parcel. We're gonna have all kinds of stuff returning. Okay. Someone is going to be so mad at me, but that's okay. Okay. So Yummy, should I rename mine just Artiste Anchor and let them res their palettes? Will that work? Okay. Let me just rename my anchor really quickly, and that should keep them from running off. And then when I need to, I'll rename mine so that you guys don't all have to rename yours again. Okay. Is mine going to be obnoxious now? Okay. Right. Okay, so I have renamed mine to just Artiste Anchor for the moment. So you guys go ahead and res your palettes. It's going to find my anchor, and that's okay. We'll tell it in just a second to look for yours instead. But everybody go ahead and res a palette. Yumi and I talked about this and we thought it would work, but clearly it didn't, so that's okay. They may all end up over here by mine, but that's fine. We're going to fix all that. So if your zoom's up to the stage by my anchor, it's okay, don't panic. Okay. Still waiting on Jess's. See if his moves. Okay, so it's fine, Winnie. It's up here. So as long as it didn't run off the parcel, we're good. We can fix it. Okay. So what you need to do is to edit your palette, and let me res mine so that I can do this as I'm talking you through it. Okay, edit your palette, find the one that's yours, and then click on that Moves note card and that palette note card to open them. Okay, and we're going to work with the palette note card first. And like I said, this is something that we're doing because, one, I want you to know how to do it, and two, if you are someplace where there's going to be more than one anchor resed, your palettes need to know which one is yours. Otherwise your moves will be off, and everyone hates messed up movers. So this is what we're doing to avoid it. If you dance someplace and nobody else is using the Artiste system, you can just leave the anchor named as it is and it won't mess anything up. Okay? Okay, so in your palette, edit it, open that palette and moves note card, and on the palette note card, you're going to see a section that looks like this. Okay, a lot of words followed by on or off. Okay, what you need to pay attention to is the following abilities, because these abilities need to be on, and they are on by default, but in case you run into a problem, you need to make sure they're on in order for you to use the palette as an avatar mover. Okay, in order for you to use it as an avatar mover, it must be animatable. Okay, so you'll see that animatable is on. It must be movable in order for the palette to move from one place to the next. And it must be sittable in order for you to sit on it as an avatar mover and have it move you around the stage. Okay. The rest of the palette, from where it says initial physics all the way down to the regular section, all of that, you can look at those. There's a lot of stuff going on there, and we're not going to talk about hardly any of those for this first session. We're going to focus on 4 entries. We're going to change the anchor name. We're going to talk about the hover text. We're going to talk about initial show hide, and we're going to show you how to make the default sit target. Okay, so those 4 things are all we're going to talk about today. Okay, anchor name, default sit target, initial show hide, and hover text. So those are the 4 you need to worry about. The rest of them, just ignore them for now. Okay, so we have our anchors resed, and you all have renamed your anchors. So in order to tell your palette that it needs to use your anchor and not mine, we have to change that entry on the palette note card. So if you go down to the section that begins with regular, the 1, 2, 3, 4th entry down in this section, you'll see it says anchor name and artiste anchor. Okay, we need to change that. So instead of anchor name artiste anchor, it's going to say anchor name comma and no spaces, and then whatever you have renamed your anchor. So for example, if I was going to do Winnie's entry, this is what hers would look like. Okay, and if you use spaces when you renamed it, make sure you use spaces in the name on the note card. If you didn't, then make sure you don't use them on the note card. Okay. Once you change the name, then save it. Save that palette note card, and then reset your palette. So save your palette note card, click on whichever palette is yours, get the blue menu, and click reset. Now that we've changed the name of the anchor, it should home in on your anchor and move closer to your individual anchor. Everybody following me so far? Okay, yay, I see anchors moving. Or pallets moving, I mean. Okay, so now that everybody, Winnie, I'm going to wait for, is yours reset? Because I want to rename my anchor, but I don't want to mess you up if you're not done yet. Okay, just tell me when it's finished resetting. I should see it move, but yeah. Did you make sure you saved your palette note card before you hit reset? Okay, it could be that it just didn't save. It's SL. So just click on it again, open that palette note card and see if it saved your change for the anchor name. Okay, try resetting it again. Yay! Did it work? It moved. Did it go back there? It did. Woohoo! Okay, so I changed my anchor name. Let me reset my palette really quick. Okay, so yay, everybody has resident anchor and you have res to palette. We've renamed it using the palette note card, so we're doing good. Now, sometimes when you res your palette, it gets confused or it can't find an anchor, and sometimes you get a script error that looks like this. And you may never get this. I'm just showing it to you so that you know what it is and you don't panic. All this means when you get this error is that it can't find the anchor and it thinks it's too far away. And so it's telling you, hey, dummy, move me closer. Okay. So if it's not finding an anchor, make sure you have set that anchor name value correctly in the palettes note card. Okay. Especially if you have renamed your anchor. Okay. So that's the first one down. Now we're going to talk about the initial show hide value. Okay. If you look in your palette inside the palette note card again, let me get mine open because mine closed. There is underneath where it says anchor name, if you go down, it's all in alphabetical order. So if you go down to the eyes, you'll see there's an entry for initial elevation and an entry for initial show hide, and it says show. So what that means is when you res your palette initially, it is going to show, it's going to be visible. Okay, so that's why we can all see them now. If you want to change it so that your palette is invisible, when it reses, then all you would need to do is change that from show to hide. Save your palette note card, reset your palette, and then when it's resed, it will be invisible. So if you wanted to load it into a res box, with your set, then when it reses, it will be invisible. Now, how you want to do that is up to you. Because I generally do solo dances, I make mine invisible, and then I know that I just have to turn on transparent so that I can see it to set on it. If you have other dancers who might be working with you and you think they will have trouble finding it if it's invisible, then you can make it show and just leave it as it is. And then there's a way to use the HUD to turn them all invisible right before the performance. Okay, so it's entirely up to you. As always with Artiste, there's more than one thing to do, more than one way to do something. So it's just whatever works better for you. Okay, but if you wanted to make your palette invisible, you would simply change that show to hide, and then it would be transparent. Okay, does anybody have any questions about that entry? Okay, okay. Hover text is something I wanted to talk about. For the palette, the default for the hover text is set to on. You can change that to off just by going down to the hover text entry on your palette note card and changing that from on to off. Again, that's personal preference. It makes no difference. It's just something that I do because I don't like the hover text. I feel like it clutters up my screen. So just personal preference. So if you wanted to turn it off, you can. And I'm going to go ahead and turn my hover text off, and I'm going to set mine to be invisible just so you guys can see what it looks like. So I've made the changes in my note card, and now I'm going to reset my palette. And when it resets, there should be no hover text and no, you shouldn't see the palette unless you turn on transparent. Okay. Anybody have any questions so far? You're so quiet. I've bored everyone to sleep. Okay, cool. If you're busy working, that's fine. I have no problem with that. You guys take as long as you need. Yes, I don't know why those are still there. Those were part of a set I was working on once upon a time, and I didn't realize they were still there. So those are gone now. Okay, so once you guys are done working and you have a chance, turn on transparency and you should see my palette, but it's invisible. I mean, it's transparent. So if you turn on transparency, you can see it. Your what didn't take path? What were you trying to do? The, the hover text, you mean? Oh, okay. All you have to do is just turn that, you have to turn it to off on the palette note card, save the palette note card, and then you have to reset the palette. So if you save the note card, okay, double click it. I would look at your note card again and make sure it saved your changes. SL being SL, I know that I was working on a routine once, and we all know Tuesdays are usually bad. It was not a Tuesday, and I was getting really frustrated because it wasn't working the way that it was supposed to. And I had done things and done things and done things. I'd done the same thing, I think, about 5 times, and it wasn't working. And I was getting really frustrated, and so I contacted Yummy, and I closed everything, started from scratch, and when I opened the note cards again, none of my changes had saved. So that's why nothing was working, because SL hadn't saved any of my changes. So if something doesn't work the way that you think, close your note cards, edit it again, reopen the note cards, and see if it actually saved your changes. Because sometimes you think it does and it doesn't. Okay, so that's hover text. We covered the initial show hide, and we covered how to change the anchor name. So we only have one thing left, and that is the default sit target entry. Okay, this one is kind of complicated, but if you're going to use your palette as a mover, you need to be able to do this. Okay, so because we're going to sit on the palette, because it's going to be our avatar mover, we may need to adjust the placement of our avatar when we sit on it. Okay, you may not care, and if you don't, you can just accept the default, and that's fine. However, you still have to give it a default. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it looks like when you stand on a palette. And all I did was stand on the palette. Okay, now as you can see, I'm sunk through to my calves, which is not really what I want, and I'm not facing the way that I want. Okay, so I want to fix this. Today is a busy day for notices. People keep interrupting me. I'm sorry. Okay. Did you get yours to work path before I move on? I still see the hover text on it if that one's yours. Okay. Okay. So at this point, I want everybody to sit on their palettes. You'll need to stand up off your chairs and then sit on your palette. When you do, you're going to get a permissions request. Make sure that you say yes. Okay. Sit on the palette, not on the anchor. Okay. Permissions request. Yes, yes, yes. Yay. Okay, so I'm not the only one who looks like a dork, so I'm cupped my calves. Okay. When you sit on a palette, there is a default sit animation entry. Okay, just like there is a default set in the spot on movers, there is a default set in the palette. Okay, it is called, the animation is called standing. And so if you look in your palette note card, go down under anchor name down to the D's, and you'll see default sit anim, and it says standing. Okay, so that entry is telling the palette to use that standing animation when you sit on it. If you want to change that animation to something else, all you have to do is add whatever animation you want to use as a default sit into the palette, and then you need to change that entry where it says default sit animation. I personally don't change it. I put all of my poses and things like that in my sequence, as I've said before, so I am not bothered by this being the default. Nobody sees me doing this except me when I'm behind the curtain. So if it bothers you, you can change it. If it doesn't bother you, I'd recommend you just leave it alone. Said, the standing animation, you could, as long as it was in the HUD, because the initial pose is actually in the HUD. Did I misunderstand your question? Okay. You mean you want to use, instead of this default standing animation, you want to use a pose of your choosing? as this initial? Is that the question? Okay. I think I know what you meant, but the people use different terms to mean different things, and so sometimes I get confused. Okay. As long as you understand it, then we're good. Okay. And that's something you have to pay attention to, whatever system you're using. If you're going to use a default animation and then you use a dance animation or something else that has a higher priority, then it's going to override and it may not do what you want. So as with any other system, that's something you have to consider. I think as far as poses go, most of the pose makers that I know, the priority is going to be 4. So it's kind of hit and miss. I know there's a couple of pose makers like 2Ds that you can get a priority 3. Yeah, 2Ds that you can get the priority. It gives you priority 3 and a priority 4. So if you want to use the 3 and then your dances will override it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if they make poses, it's just a matter of um, re-uploading it with a different priority. And just to throw a little thing out there, I make poses, so if you guys have something for a dance that you want in particular that you can't find anywhere, you just holler at me and I would be happy to make you one. And I can make it whatever priority you want. Okay, so we're all standing here looking like dorks. So we are going to adjust our sit. Okay, so if you click on the menu, click on the palette to get the blue menu. And then you'll see in the upper right, there is a button that says page 2. Click that and you get page 2 of the menu. In the bottom middle column, you will see a button that says adjust. Click that. You'll get a third menu. And in that same spot, middle bottom column, you'll see another button that says adjust. When you click it, you'll get this lovely little well, you're supposed to get a lovely little adjuster thing, but mine doesn't appear to be working. So hang on just a moment. Okay, that's weird. Okay, Winnie and Lil have got theirs. Why am I not getting one? Yummy, what did I do? Oh, okay. Okay, well then I'm not going to try it at the moment. If you guys look at Lil and Winnie really quickly, they've got the adjuster showing, okay? And you can see that the adjuster has a red bar, a blue vertical bar, and a green bar, just like the arrows that you get when you edit something, okay? And all you're going to do is move those pieces. Just click on the object and edit it when you get it. And you raise it up to raise yourself up out of the palette, out of the floor. You move it via the green bar or via the red bar to move yourself around. Okay, so Winnie and Lil, if you will get yourselves adjusted to where you want, I'm going to tell you what to do, and then we're going to have a couple other people try it at the same time. Okay? So once you guys have yourselves positioned where you want, then on that menu page, there's a Save button. Click on that Save button and it will put some information in local chat that'll look something like this. Okay? You're going to copy everything after the equal sign from that first bracket to the last bracket. This is the vector information that you're going to put in the palette note card. So click the Save button, get your vector information, copy it, and then in your palette note card, go to where it says default sit target that entry. After default sit target, put in a comma and then paste that vector information. Once you have it pasted, save your note card. While it's saving, you can click on the blue menu on the button that says remove and it will remove that adjuster. Okay? Once you've dismissed the adjuster, then you can dismiss the blue menu. Okay, so Lil is done. Somebody else wants to try hitting the adjust. Click the remove button, Winnie, and it should remove itself. Okay, well just hang on a minute. It could be because we're all trying to do stuff here at once, so it may just be SL trying to come up with stuff. Okay, I see Zed's positioner. So Path, do you want to try yours? Page 2, when you get to page 2, there should be an adjust button. Okay, hang on, Path. Adjust button, Megan, and then you'll get a third menu with another adjust button and click that and that should bring it up for you. Megan, not Megan, I'm sorry. Uh-oh, where did your palette go? Path, did it disappear? I don't see it. Did it go bye-bye? Okay, Zed, did you get yours finished? Oh, you deleted your palette. Oh, Megan, there goes yours. I see it. Okay, so Zed's finished, Winnie's finished, Lil is finished. Megan's working on hers. Is Jess working on his? Okay. Before you res yours again, Path, you've renamed your anchor to Pass Artiste Anchor. So go back and just rename your anchor Artiste Anchor and then res it and it shouldn't run away. Because everybody else's anchor has changed, so it should just hone in on yours. Is it working to get you? Jess, try standing up and then sitting again and see if that works. I think some of this is just all of us trying to do things at once and it doesn't like it. So, okay, so yours isn't going to run away, now path because yours it's found that anchor. So you don't need to rename the anchor name. It's fine just to leave it as it is. And then see if you can get that adjuster to show up for you. Jess, you may need to reset yours if you can't get it to work. How's yours coming, Megan? You're not moving the palette, you're moving that red, blue, green object. So don't move the palette itself, you're moving the, when you edit the, but it's not moving you. Okay, that's weird. Oh, so the adjuster was still rezzed after she jumped off? Is that the, okay. Okay, so Megan, delete that adjuster and then just start over. Sit on the palette, then get your blue menu, adjust, and then see if it works. Okay, I see Jess's adjuster. So let's see. Oh ho, he moved. Yay, hey. Jess had to reset his palette, Megan, so I'm wondering if maybe you need to reset yours too and then try it again. To get the adjuster path, click on the palette, get the blue menu, page 2, then there's a button that says adjust. You'll get a third menu and it says adjust. And when you hit that third button, it should pop up that red, green, blue object. Megan, if yours isn't working, try resetting your palette and see if that works. Oh goodness. Okay, what? She's got the CK1 the same as me, yummy. Okay. Okay, Path, were you able to get the adjuster? Okay. Okay, Megan's got hers working, yay. Oh, and I probably should have mentioned this, Path, but It's better if you're not sitting on the palette when you reset it. Probably would have been helpful information for all of you. I apologize. No, I do it too, but it seems to work better if you're not sitting on it when you reset it. So, okay, so Jess is good, Lil's good, Zed's good, Winnie's good, Megan's almost there. Okay, let me try mine and see if mine is working now. Okay, nope, it's not working for me either, Path, so I'm going to try resetting my palette and then see if it works. Once you have it positioned where you want it, Megan, then you want to click the blue menu button that says Save and get that vector information. Copy everything from bracket to bracket from local, and then you're going to copy that into the palette note card where it says default sit target. Put in a comma and then paste in your vector information and then save your palette note card. Did you get everything saved to the default sit target, Megan? Okay, Megan's got it removed, so I think she's got hers set where she wants. Okay, mine is still not letting me get my adjuster. Path, are you having any luck? Aha, finally got mine. Okay, well it worked for me, so let me do mine real quick and then we'll see if we can get yours working. I think it just doesn't like us to all be doing it at once. Okay, and I know this is kind of a pain, but the reason that we're doing this now is because this will hopefully save you from having to do this again. Okay. So Path, have you reset yours? Okay, you are the only one doing it. I finished mine and everybody else is finished. So it's all you, man. Tell me what it's doing and we'll help you. The rest of you, I know this is kind of boring, so feel free to barrage me with questions if you have any. Okay, did you reset your palette path? Okay, so now sit on your palette and you should get a menu that says, do you accept permissions, blah, blah, blah. Click yes. Did you get that? Okay. Now, click on the palette itself and get your blue menu. Got the blue menu? Okay, click on the page 2 button. You'll get a second menu. On the second menu, middle column, bottom, there's a button that says adjust. Click that. After you click it, tell me you clicked it. Okay, then you get a third menu, middle row or middle column, bottom row again is another button that says adjust. Click that one. Haha, there it is. Okay, so now you have the red, blue, green object. Edit it. And then as you edit it, it's going to move you however you move it. So you want to move yourself up. So move it up with the blue arrow until you're where you want. Rotate it if you want to face a different direction or whatever. Move yourself till you're wherever you want to be. And when you're wherever you want to be and you're finished editing, tell me, and then I'll tell you the next step. Okay, so on that blue menu that you should still have up, there's a button that says Save. Click on the Save button, and you should see click Save, and you should get some local chat with some vector information. Let me know when you get that. Okay, click from that first bracket to the last bracket, copy it. Once you have it copied, get the palette note card out of your palette. If you have to edit the palette to open it again, that's fine. On the palette note card, scroll down to the entry that says default sit target. Let me know when you see the default sit target entry. Okay, so then after the default sit target, put a comma and then paste in that vector information, and it should look something like that when you get done. So comma and then paste your vector information, then save your note card. Once you save your note card, tell me. Yep, that's it exactly. So save it. Okay. Is your note card saved, Path? Okay. Then on the blue menu where it says remove, click remove and it should get rid of that red, blue, green object. Okay. That's it. You're done. Okay. So if you're standing on your palette, hop off of it. Okay. Last thing that we need to do, because your palette is going to be an avatar mover, it has to be named in a certain way for the HUD to recognize that it's an avatar mover. Okay. So you can name your palette what you want as long as it follows this rule. Okay. So it must be named Artiste Pallete underscore some number between 01 to 99 underscore A, where A is either the letters A through H or Z. Okay, so I could name my palette this, which is what you'll see most of the time. Okay, I could name it this. Either one of those are acceptable names. Okay, the numbers have to be anywhere from 01 to 99 and the letters can be A through H or Z. Okay. When you use more than one palette, each palette has to have a unique name. So if I was going to do a duet dance, for example, and I needed two avatar movers, I would most probably name my first palette the O1A, and then I would name the second one either O2A or I could name it O1B, like that. Okay, so how you name it is up to you, but when your current palettes, if you see they have O1A, CK1, you need to delete everything after the A. So just edit your palette, go to the General tab, and delete the CK1 and the space. Okay? If you want to change it to some other name, it's fine. Yes, Pat, that's an acceptable name. Winnie, you have a question? You need to make sure it's named Artiste Palette. The numbers have to be something between 0, 1, and 99, and the letters have to be either A through H or Z. As long as you use any combination of that, yes, you can name it whatever you want. And this, naming it this way is something you only have to do with a palette if you're going to use it as an avatar mover. Okay? So once you have renamed it, okay, what I want you to do is to close the edit window, close all your note cards. You can do 57C path, but you need to get rid of that space CK1, okay, because that will confuse the HUD. There shouldn't be anything in the name after that final letter, okay? So reset, close all your note cards and reset your palette one last time, okay? While your palette is resetting, I would like for you to create a new folder in your inventory, whether you put that in the palette box of stuff, whether you need to put it wherever else. If you have a class folder that you use, I don't care, just somewhere that you know where it's going to be. What this is going to be is your now default mover template palette. Okay, so all the stuff that we just went through with the adjuster and all of that, if you use this palette again, you don't have to do any of that. It should all be already set for you. And then you would just need to res as many copies as you want and change the names if you're going to use more than one palette. Okay, does that make sense to everybody? So create a folder so that you know that this is going to be your template that you can use as a mover. And then once your palette is done resetting, click it and take a copy of it into inventory and then put it in that folder. So now, anytime that you want to use a palette as an avatar mover, you would just need to res an anchor. You can use that palette that we just made, res it, sit on it, and you should be all configured and ready to go to start making your mover route. Okay? So hopefully you won't have to go through any of that stuff we just did again. If you mess something up and you need help going through it, don't worry, just contact Yummy or I and we'll be happy to walk you through it again. The only thing you need to remember is on that template palette, if you change the name of your anchor to an anchor that has your name, just remember that you need to use that same name when you use another anchor. Does that make sense? Okay. So yay, we got through all 4 things we were supposed to get through today. Now, I know some of you had issues and questions about things with the HUD after the last session of classes. That's all what we've just done is all I have planned for today. If you guys want to stay and ask questions, whether that's over the palette, whether that's over something we covered in the last class, please feel free. I'm going to stay, so if anybody has questions. Again, I want everybody to use this. So if you've not used it yet, the HUD to perform, and you're having issues or you're just unsure of how to do something, please stay and talk it over with me or Yummy, because I really would like you guys to use this. So if there's something that we've not covered or something that's not clear, I want to clear that up for you before we go on. Next class, I'm going to show you how to use the palette that we just made, and we're going to make a really simple mover route. Okay? It's really not that complicated. If some of you don't want to wait until next week, you can let me know. This really, I think, is the most complicated part of it, is just getting that initial palette set up. And again, this is just to use the palette as an avatar mover. If you want to do something else with it, it's completely different rules. Okay? So, if you don't have any questions and you're happy with everything that we did today, you are certainly free to go. If you have questions or concerns or you just want to talk, feel free to stay and I will be happy to chat with you. Okay, yes, Winnie, make sure that you get with me or I'll get with you. Bye, Winnie. You have a question, Path? So you're going to have two dancers and you need two palettes? Okay. Well, to make another mover, you could simply shift copy it. And then all you would need to do to make it work is make sure that each palette has a different name. So for example, if you're going to have one named 57C, you could make the other one 56C, 58C, 57A. It just needs to have a unique name so that the HUD knows what to tell each one to do and each palette knows where to go. Yeah, they just need to have unique names. That's all that's required. Okay, that works.